and welcome to another episode of Other Items of Interest. I'm your host, Jack Zablocki. This week, we have a little bit of everything. Most of all, we have a parade of dumb criminals. Just a plethora of dumb criminals. We also have an exorcist story. That's fun. And some other crap. All that and more on this episode of Other Items of Interest. Hello, friends, and welcome to the revival. No, this is Other Items of Interest. This is not the revival. What am I talking about? That's silly. Hi, how's everybody doing today? Or tonight, whenever you're listening, I don't know. If you listened in last week, we had some sound issues with a construction crew outside working on the street. It wasn't that big of an issue, but I'd like to warn you ahead of time just because that's the kind of guy I am. So today, if there's more sound issues from the street crew working, deal with it. I don't know what to tell you because that's the kind of guy I am. They're pretty much finished in this general vicinity, but they are down the street both ways and I think around the corner. So you might hear a truck drive by or a horn or my favorite new sound, a shovel scraping on asphalt. That's always pleasant. I think we might be free and clear of the noise, but word of warning. Let's do the show anyway. Let's get on with it, shall we? We shall. So, the first half of the show is pretty much all dumb criminals. They're all short articles about dumb things people have done to get arrested. Kind of like this format. See how it goes. Because there's a lot of dumb criminals out there to cover. This one is from the DetroitNews.com. Woman in wheelchair fires taser at McDonald's employee. Woman in a wheelchair, upset about the wait for her fast food, fired a taser at a McDonald's employee Thursday in Midtown, Wayne State University police said. The incident occurred around 5 p.m. at the restaurant near the university on Woodward and Willis. Several police vehicles responded to the scene on reports of shots fired. Yeah, that's kind of put a crimp in things, I think. When campus police arrived, a clerk told police the woman had fired a taser. The woman admitted to officers she had deployed the stun gun, saying her food was taking too long and the cashier was rude to her. Oh, makes perfect sense. That's fine. She was in the right. Holt said the woman was angry, yelling, and refusing help from officers. The taser prong missed the employee and hit the wall, Holt said. The woman was briefly placed in custody and removed from the restaurant. Holt said investigators are reviewing the incident and the woman could be charged with aggravated assault. How long could your food have been taking? You don't need to shoot anybody. And continuing our parade of dumb criminals from WFAA.com, ABC Channel 8, if you were wondering. Red Oak police searching for package thief who is carrying a duck. The Red Oak Police Department is searching for a package thief who was caught on a doorbell camera stealing a package and carrying a live, quacking duck, police said Thursday. What is unusual about this case is the suspect's accomplice. A Facebook post from the Red Oak Police read, "The suspect appears to be carrying a quacking duck in his right hand during the theft from the porch." And there is a video. It's not a long video, so they padded it out with a bunch of text. The Red Oak Police Department. So it's kind of annoying. But you do get to see the man stealing a package, and he does have a duck. They're not lying about that, and it's quacking. It's something, I guess. Police said the package theft happened June 6th around 5 p.m. in the 500 block of Cypress Court in Red Oak. The suspect is described as a man with short, dark-colored hair wearing a red shirt and blue jeans. Anyone with information on the suspect or the quacking duck is urged to contact Detective Matthew Bratcher by phone at 469, and I'm not going to give out the rest of his number because it's right here. I don't have that many listeners, but there's got to be one of you out there who would, try calling this guy for shits and giggles. That's about it. If you want to check out the video, you can check out the show notes through otheritemsofinterest.com and look for the link. The following article comes from WIFR.com. Too many showers leads to fight between Florida man, 70-year-old roommate. Good old Florida man. Byron Christianudis just wanted to take a shower. He ended up in the Land O'Lakes jail after a fight with his elderly roommate. Deputies arrested the 48-year-old man Tuesday for battery on a person over 65, the Miami Herald reported. Christianudis, I don't have a problem with his name. It's his name, but I keep hearing myself say Christian nudists, like a bunch of Christians who are naked. That's just how it's coming out of my mouth, and I don't mean for it to sound that way, but it's Christianudis. Okay. Christianudis rents space from his 70-year-old roommate, which technically makes this a landlord-tenant relationship. When the roommate told Christianudis he takes too many showers, Christianudis put him in a headlock and scratched his face so severely it left lacerations, deputies said. The suspect reportedly confessed to putting his roommate in a headlock, but claimed he only did so because he felt threatened by the 70-year-old man. How many showers a day was he taking? I mean, it's Florida, it's sweaty. As soon as I get sweaty, I want to take a shower myself. The following article is short and sweet from 1380kcim.com, CBC Online. Jefferson police called in to dispute after someone urinated in a cookie jar. There's been no indication if any charges will be filed after a Jefferson woman reported that someone had urinated in her cookie jar. The Jefferson Police Department received notice of the incident at approximately 1:55 p.m. on Thursday, when the resident in the 600 block of North Olive Street told officers her roommate had committed the offense. The woman retaliated by pouring the cookie jar full of urine on the offender's clothing. Okay, maybe it's not too sweet, but it is short, right? Yes. From WHDH.com, Channel 7 News. No DUI for drunken woman who took Power Wheels truck on a joyride. Remember the Power Wheels truck? I guess they still make them. A South Carolina woman who police say was driving drunk will not be cited with a DUI because her vehicle of choice was a toy truck. News outlets quote police as saying that instead they charged 25-year-old Megan Hallman with public intoxication. They say they spotted her cruising down the road in a Power Wheels electric toy truck after a caller reported a suspicious person on the street. Officers say she was driving about a mile from her home in Walhalla when they stopped her. That one was short and sweet. I thought any kind of vehicle whatsoever, if you were intoxicated and caught driving under the influence. I guess not. And bringing our cavalcade of stars to a close, from the MiamiHerald.com, why did the Florida man steal all those pool floats? He told cops the alternative was rape. According to the Palm Bay Police Department in Brevard County, the city has been plagued with burglaries in which the suspect cuts the screen or otherwise enters a victim's back pool deck area and steals only pool floats. Court records in the Palm Bay, Melbourne, Titusville region, Palm Bay, Melbourne, Titusville region of Florida say there have been an estimated 13 reports so far this year concerning this mysterious pool toy crime wave. On Thursday, police made an arrest. According to the affidavit, police say Christopher William Monin, 35, and his mugshot is up, and that's a hard 35, is behind the thefts. Multiple victims indicated that they had been burglarized several times by this person, but only reported it on the second or third burglary of their floats. The burglary that led to his arrest happened on June 5th when police say Manin cut the pool screen to get into the deck of a home in Palm Bay. Police stopped Manin as a suspicious person who was riding his bicycle on a city street Thursday around 1:25 a.m. They say he had a white garbage bag full of what Manin identified as deflated pool floats. Manin took officers to a vacant house where he allegedly stored floats. About 75 of them were found, including ones that the June 5th victim described. These were one long white one and one long blue float. The defendant stated that he sexually gratifies himself with the pool floats instead of raping women. Stand-up guy. Manin was charged with burglary of an occupied dwelling, petite theft of property less than $300, and criminal mischief of $200 or less. His total bond at Brevard County Jail on the three charges is $16,000. As a condition of his release, he must be fitted with a GPS monitoring device. Manin will be arraigned on July 16th at Moore Justice Center. Who goes to clean up all those pool floats? And do they have gloves? Get them gloves. All right, let's get to some serious news now. From the BBC, bbc.com. Cat filter accidentally used in Pakistan minister's live press conference. And this is one, go to otheritemsofinterest.com, check the show notes, because the pictures with this one are adorable. A bunch of Pakistani politicians looking like cats. A Pakistani politician's live stream press conference descended into farce when a cat filter was switched on by mistake. Shaukat Yousafzai was briefing journalists last Friday when the setting was accidentally turned on. Facebook users watching the video live commented on the gaffe, but Mr. Yousafzai carried on unaware of his feline features. And I know I'm probably butchering his name, but I'm not good at this. Okay? He later said it was a mistake that should not be taken so seriously. As Mr. Yousafzai spoke, the comical filter superimposed pink ears and whiskers on his face, and that of other officials sitting beside him. I wasn't the only one. 2 officials sitting along me were also hit by the cat filter, Mr. Yousafzai told AFP news agency. The video posted to the official Facebook page of the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf Party, oh, I'm so sorry if I'm killing these words, was deleted minutes after a press conference. The blunder was blamed on human error by the party, which runs the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province in northwest Pakistan. All necessary actions have been taken to avoid such incidents in the future, it said. Unfortunately for Mr. Yousafzai, the cat was already out of the bag. I'll let that joke pass. Why not? There's plenty of pictures. The cat, because the cat filter went to different people on screen at different points. And there's one guy just looking bored out of his mind. He looks like the boredest cat in the world. And there's some other tweets and whatnot, and it's worth looking at. It'll make you giggle, I promise. From knoe.com. Brother walks through front door after sisters take man they thought was him off life support. Whoops. 2 Chicago sisters made funeral arrangements for a man they thought was their deceased brother. The sisters had made a series of medical decisions for him in the hospital. Then they learned the dead man was not their brother at all. Rosie Brooks said she got a phone call on May 13th that no one ever wants to receive. She identified herself as Jennifer from Mercy Hospital. She was a social worker, Brooks said. She was looking for relatives of Alfonso Bennett, and I told her that was my brother. Well, she said, he's here in ICU. Brooks rushed to Mercy with her sister, Brenda Bennett Johnson. They had him on a ventilator and they had a tube in his mouth, Brooks said. They both looked at the man in the hospital bed and said, I cannot identify this as my brother. They kept saying, CPD identified this person as our brother, said Bennett Johnson. Brooks said hospital staff said the man had been beaten badly, especially in the face. The man who had been brought in as John Doe was found naked and without ID on April 29th. Their brother has a background and is rarely in touch with his 4 sisters. Bennett Johnson said a nurse told her police identified him through mugshots and not fingerprints because of budget cuts. Those are pretty bad budget cuts if you can't do fingerprints. The sister said the man responded to commands by raising his hands but never opened his eyes. Soon he started to languish. The sister signed papers to take him off a ventilator and gave permission for doctors to perform a tracheotomy. He went into hospice. Bennett Johnson was with him. Within minutes he was ice cold, she said. They purchased a casket, a suit, and made funeral arrangements. Around the same time, they received a phone call from one of their other sisters. She called my sister Yolanda to say, it's a miracle, Brooks said. Brenda, it's Alfonso, I said. You're kidding. I almost had a heart attack, Bennett Johnson said. Alfonso Bennett was alive and well, and he had just walked through the front door. It's sad it happened like that, said Bennett Johnson. It was our brother, and we had to go through that. That would have been a different thing. But we made all kinds of decisions on someone that wasn't our family. The sister said the man they'd been caring for was later identified at the morgue through fingerprints. Too little, too late. They say police are now looking for his relatives. I can't conceive how a budgetary issue would drive whether or not a person who is a John Doe would be fingerprinted before they're taken off life support, said family attorney Cannon Lambert. If that's the situation, something's got to be done. A spokesperson for the hospital said the family did positively identify the man as their brother. Ooh, hospital's getting a little sassy. Police reportedly do not take fingerprints unless someone commits a crime or when they go to the morgue. That's got to be rough. The following comes from dailystar.co.uk. If you do check out this one in the show notes at otheritemsofinterest.com, be forewarned, there are some not safe for work links. I would consider them not safe for work because this is kind of a tabloid paper. A little bit of trash. In fact, here's the headline. Exorcist Bishop pours holy water on evil city from helicopter. That's pretty cool. Ruben Dario Jaramillo Montoya wants to use his position as Bishop of Buenaventura in Colombia to purge the streets of evil. Sounds like a solid plan. Montoya told local radio station Blue Radio, "We want to go around the whole of Buenaventura from the air and pour holy water onto it to see if we exorcise and get out all those demons that are destroying our port, so that God's blessing comes and gets rid of all the wickedness that is in our streets." Solid. Local media report the National Army support the bishop's plan and have offered him the use of a helicopter to carry it out. They are reportedly working with the priest to work out where they will pour the holy water. And there's some pictures of the priest, of Ruben Dario Jaramillo Montoya. There's a picture of the slums. The bishop said Buenaventura should have the devil taken away. so that we can see if we can get back the tranquility the city has lost with all this crime, wickedness, and the drug trafficking that is hitting our port. It is said that the exorcism will take place between July 13th and 14th during a local festival. Between January and May this year, 51 homicides were reported in the city, 20 more than in the same period last year. The latest murder in the city shocked the country when Diana Tatiana Rodriguez, 10, was found with clear signs of having been tortured and sexually abused. I'm sure that exorcism will help everything. Her uncle, John Eduardo Quintero Urquiza, was arrested and reportedly confessed to the crime. Buenaventura is one of the municipalities which was worst hit by the armed conflict in Colombia. The municipality turned into a strategic spot for the drug route to the United States. In 2010, a car bomb attack killed 9 people, injured more than 20. That's it. I think they should, I don't know if they have a rainy season there, but the one picture of the slum shows lots of clouds. Hear me out. You get this guy to bless the clouds, right? Take a helicopter up, bless the clouds. It rains holy water. Huh? No? Okay, forget it. And here's a little bit more God talk from azcentral.com. Light rail opponent says God killed former Congressman Ed Pastor because he supported mass transit. I think God has nothing, if there is a God, there's nothing for him or her better to do than give 75-year-old Ed Pastor a heart attack and kill him because of mass transit. That's the kind of crazy I like. Put that person in office. One of the original leaders of the anti-light rail movement in South Phoenix claims God judged Congressman Ed Pastor for bringing death to the community by supporting light rail and punished him with a fatal heart attack. At a city council meeting last week, Celia Contreras told council members she was coming in the name of Lord Jesus Christ with a message: stop the light rail or the punishment will continue. It was unclear to the audience where Contreras was going with her remarks, but the council soon learned. Contreras, who operates a window tinting shop on Central Avenue, handed members a flyer that featured a photo of Pastor, who died of a heart attack in November. The flyer also documents a conversation Contreras said she had with God, where God said he gave Pastor a heart attack because he was the architect of the light rail, and warned that he would continue to judge those who support it. I weigh their acts on a balance for those who have done wrong in advancing this project, and they shall receive their pay, for I am the Almighty, the flyer said. This is just silly. Pastor was a champion of public transportation and one of the main federal proponents of light rail. Pastor's daughter, Laura Pastor, is a Phoenix city councilwoman and left the dais after she saw the flyer, as would I have too. Contreras' business fronts onto Central Avenue, where a 6-mile light rail extension is planned to connect the current light rail into Baseline Road. The extension will require whittling Central Avenue down to 2 vehicular lanes. There's something right in the middle of the article here, which is the flyer, if you want to read the flyer. Check it out through otheritemsofinterest.com. It's not pleasant. Last year, a group of concerned business owners formed a group dubbed 4 Lanes or No Train, demanding the council maintain all of the lanes on Central Avenue. Contreras spoke before the council numerous times, telling the council that her business and others would not survive if vehicle traffic was lessened. Contreras spoke before the council numerous times, telling the council that her business and others would not survive if vehicle traffic was lessened. The council did not heed that request. A separate group, Building a Better Phoenix, was born at that time. The group collected enough signatures to force an election in August, asking voters to cancel all future light rail. Building a Better Phoenix leader Susan Gudino said her group has never been associated with Contreras and did not agree with the comments she made before the council. When I heard what she said, my mouth dropped, Gudino said. We do not support that. We do not think that. At a council meeting Tuesday, Laura Pastor addressed the flyer. I chose not to take the message because I didn't feel that God was speaking to me. I felt at that moment that the devil was speaking to me, she said. Pastor said she grew up knowing that as part of a political family, she would be a target. Her parents taught her to be strong and have courage. I have strong spiritual faith. I also know my Father's work and it will stand the test of time, she said. Mayor Kate Gallego said Contreras' comments were deeply inappropriate. It was a new low last week. To use the death of a loved one to try to score political points is deeply inappropriate, and you handled it with grace, Gallego said, addressing Pastor. And that's that. City Council craziness. And we have some more City Council craziness from sacurrent.com, San Antonio. San Antonio District 4 Council candidate says NASA is the #1 source of climate change. Over the years, politicians have bandied about some interesting theories to explain away climate change. But District 4 Council candidate Johnny Arredondo's is a new one on us. He blames NASA. The #1 source of climate change is NASA, Arredondo said during a recent League of Women Voters forum. NASA's satellites in the air actually measures climate change. NASA put out a study in 1950. Between 1950 and 1990, that was the hardest time period for climate change. He continued, we can't just be throwing money away at a city into science that is just part of the national talking media. Did you get that? Did you understand a word of that? I have read that several times now, out loud to myself. I don't understand it. I don't know what he's trying to say, and it hurts my brain. The article doesn't know what he means either. We're not sure what he means by the national talking media, but we do know NASA wasn't established until 1958, something confirmed by the space agency's website. In case you want to watch Arredondo's explanation in its entirety, the news site Nowcast SA caught it on video. And there is a YouTube link here if you want to watch that. Arredondo is locked in a runoff with Adriana Roca Garcia to represent the Southwest San Antonio district currently represented by Ray Saldana. Saldana is serving his last term on council due to term limits. And if you're in San Antonio, early voting is in the runoff lasts through Tuesday, June 4th, which is way too late. And election day is Saturday, June 8th. Sorry if you missed it. From FijiVillage.com, Indian man who planted fake hijacking letter to keep flight attendant girlfriend close ends up in jail. If you're looking for a story of how to ruin your life in a matter of minutes, here we are. An Indian businessman has been jailed for life after planting a fake hijacking letter in the toilet of a Jet Airways flight from Delhi to Mumbai. Burju Salah said he had hoped the air carrier would close its Delhi operations and his girlfriend, a Jet Airways flight attendant, would have to move to live with him in Mumbai. He was also fined about $700,000. Salah is the first person to be tried under India's new anti-hijacking laws. The legislation carries a minimum sentence of life imprisonment and a death sentence at its most severe. The businessman confessed to writing and printing the threat note in his Mumbai office before catching the flight in October 2017. It said 12 hijackers and several explosives were on board and demanded that the flight be diverted into Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. None of that happened. His letter didn't work. It seems excessive, life imprisonment, but you are hijacking a plane or pretending to. Bad joke. Not so funny. And the fine that goes along with it. I mean, you're already in prison for life. They're going to fine you $700,000. That's US. How to ruin your life in a matter of minutes. And some more inappropriate airplane news from foxnews.com. Passenger found guilty of masturbating on flight as wife watched, helped. United Airlines passenger is scheduled to be sentenced on charges of lewd, indecent, or obscene conduct stemming from a February 3rd flight between Los Angeles and San Antonio. Enrique Gonzalez of Rancho Cucamonga, California, was arrested upon landing at the San Antonio International Airport after a fellow passenger observed Gonzalez masturbating in his seat. According to the witness, the criminal conduct began when the cabin lights were dimmed. Gotta get the mood right. And continued for approximately 30 minutes, during which Gonzalez met the witness's eye and continued his conduct, said FBI Special Agent Gregory Pratt in an affidavit obtained by the outlet. There's a mugshot here, and he's just leering at you. I mean, if you were sitting next to this guy on an airplane, he was masturbating, and he made eye contact with the way he looks in his mugshot, gross, man. Absolutely gross. Gonzalez's wife, who was also on the flight, said she was aware of her husband's actions and admitted to police she played with it as well. Gonzalez, 48, was booked into Bexar County Jail after his arrest by San Antonio Airport Police. He was found guilty of the federal misdemeanor charge Wednesday and faces a possible $500 fine or 90 days in jail at Friday's sentencing. And it is a Fox News website. Do not wade into the comments below. I implore you. The following comes from the Washington Post, WashingtonPost.com. We're really happy to get this toe. Arctic marathoner donates amputated digits for a hotel's infamous cocktail. Infamous? Whatever. Nick Griffiths didn't want his toes to go to waste. Not all of them were going to make it home with him after he had to be evacuated from the Yukon Arctic Ultra by snowmobile in February 2018. Suffering from deep frostbite during the 300-mile race, the 47-year-old ultramarathoner from the UK had been slogging through the snow and ice out in the Canadian wilderness for 30 consecutive hours when his hands and feet started to turn raw. He was pulling a sled of supplies, temperatures colder than 40 below zero, bent on crossing a finish line hundreds of miles away. It was so cold that his eyes were frozen open, his eyelashes stuck together, and his lids unblinkable. Ice crystals were falling from the sky like missiles. Dehydrated, sleepless, and numb, Griffiths surrendered at mile 50. The doctor soon informed him 3 of his toes would have to go. But still, a nurse assured him he didn't really have to lose them, at least not completely. Had he ever heard of the sour toe cocktail, she asked. Griffiths thought it was a whiskey drink. Sort of, the nurse said. It's a shot of whiskey with a mummified human toe dropped inside, like an orange peel in an old-fashioned. And if Griffiths wanted, maybe it could be his toe. The bar at the downtown hotel in Dawson City, Yukon, is always in need of toes, she said. Griffiths was intrigued. So I got in touch with the hotel, he said, and they said, well, if we can get them, we'd love to have your toes. Griffiths couldn't pass up the chance to become the main ingredient of one of the world's most disgusting drinking experiences. His toes arrived by mail at the bar last week. People have been venturing to Dawson City's downtown hotel to throw back the sour toe cocktail since 1973, when a local boat operator found a severed toe in a cabin and thought turning it into a drinking challenge might be a great way to draw tourists. Somehow it was. Since then, Terry Lee, the bar's official toe master, estimates that more than 100,000 people have become members of the Sour Toe Cocktail Club. And there's plenty of pictures for this article as well. If can check the show notes at otheritemsofinterest.com. The tow master, Terry Lee, I've seen him before on like Travel Channel stuff, but he looks like Popeye's father, Pappy. And I don't know if you guys can hear this, but there's a huge truck going by. My microphone is going crazy, just shaking, just rattling. Can you hear that? I think it's gone. Now it's beeping. To join the club, you don't have to swallow the tow or even put it in your mouth. But there is one rule, more so a motto. According to Lee, you can drink it fast, you can drink it slow, but your lips must touch the gnarly tow. The tow is mummified, dry and blackish brown. It is stored in a jar of salt in the warmth of the furnace room for preservation. There are currently 2 tows in stock, rotated out until they decay into useless stubs. That's kind of gross. Everything else is fine. This is why Griffith's donation is so special, Lee said. It can be challenging to stock the bar with new tows, which only come every several years. We're really happy to get this tow, Lee said. We've been without a big tow for a long time. Griffith's donation is uncommon for several reasons, Lee said. Typically, the donated tows don't go through so much trouble to get there. They are usually willed to the bar by anonymous deceased people. Sometimes they are donated by living people who chop off a toe on accident with a lawnmower or a chainsaw. But rarely, Lee said, does a living person donate an amputated toe after voluntarily trudging 50 miles through the Arctic wilderness. Griffiths is that guy. A former British Marine, Griffiths was always been itching for the next endurance testing thrill. He's completed the Ironman triathlon, which included a 2.4-mile swim and a 112-mile bike race with a marathon at the end. He's rowed a boat across the Atlantic Ocean with a small crew of friends, a 59-day venture. The Yukon Arctic Ultra, he said, was only part of the natural progression. I like a challenge and I like an adventure, but there's people out there who are way more adventurous and tougher than I am. I'm just a normal bloke who likes to have a go at things and experience life. So he geared up with a closet's worth of long johns, fleece, and waterproof, windproof puffy jackets, and bought his ticket for the 300-mile Arctic Marathon. The racers are entirely self-sufficient, pulling their own food, sleeping bags, and water on a tiny sled, as though they are the dogs and the supplies are the mushers. The trail is marked, but last year, Griffith said, the conditions got so bad that the organizers had to rescue almost everybody, halting the event for one day. The day started out just fine. The temperature was about minus 36, really nice day. But by nightfall, the temperature plummeted and became unbearable. Griffiths knew he couldn't stop walking. He couldn't lie down and sleep, but eventually, Griffith said, he and a partner were too exhausted to go on. They huddled in the snow for 3 hours in the middle of the night, from midnight to 3 a.m., shivering and massaging their numb muscles to keep the blood flowing. The left foot was a problem, Griffiths realized. He couldn't get it warm. By the next evening, when event staff transported Griffith on an hours-long journey to the nearest hospital, his toes were purple. The surgeon thought he was going to lose them all, if not his entire foot. Griffiths remained in the hospital for treatment for several days before flying back home to Manchester, where a surgeon geared him up for an amputation. There, he told the doctor about the sour toe cocktail. He thought it was quite amusing, Griffiths said. He said, look, they're your toes, you can have them if you want. When I came back from surgery, next to me were 3 little jars with my toes in it. The hard part was figuring out how to transport the toes to the downtown hotel bar. For months, the hotel kept trying to fly him out to deliver them in person, but plans kept getting thwarted by Griffith's long-term medical treatment. Finally, fearing it was a bit of a waste of these toes to just sit there, Griffith turned to the postal service. I didn't really think you could send body parts through the post, he said, but to his delight, the post office said it would take about 5 to 7 days. It didn't, of course. 5 weeks later, to Griffith's relief, the toes arrived intact, floating in the medical-grade alcohol. Lee said the next step will be soaking the toes in salt to dry them out, as part of the 6-week mummification process. Then they'll be ready to serve. Griffith said he still plans to make the trip to Dawson City, so I can drink my own toe. My wife and kids, they think I'm a bit mad, he said. I don't know if I would do the sour toe cocktail drink thing. I think as soon as that toe touched my lips, I'd vomit everywhere. And I think that's it because it's getting to be a bit of a ruckus outside. I hear something firing up. Yeah, we're going to call it a day. Let's call it a day. And this is what we call the end of the show, the end credits. This has been Other Items of Interest. I've been your host, Jack Zablocki. Hope to see you again next week. In the meantime, we'll miss you. Bye-bye, everybody.